it when it's hot in the summertime. I hate it when it's hot in December. Like that's just dumb to me. So
We live in we live in opposite
we do,
places. Like I
we
should
do.
live there where it is warm, sunny, beautiful all the time, and you should be living here where there's weather.
Yeah, yeah. We should do like regular house swaps.
Yeah, we'll do a house swap. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I love it.
You're gonna
Well,
have to do
let's.
some barn chores if we do that though.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Hmm. All right. I'll rethink this. Yeah.
And we have spiders here, so there's that
Oh
too.
jeez. Yeah. Yeah. We don't have spiders or bugs really. So okay. Well. Ugh,
We'll
yikes.
that's a topic for next year. We'll worry
Yeah.
about that
Yeah.
next year.
We'll have to figure that out later on. Well, let's do our fun dinner party
Yeah,
questions,
yeah.
and then we'll jump off.
You want to go first? You go first.
Sure. I'll go first. What's something you learned as an adult that blew your mind?
Something that I learned as an adult that you have to pay taxes, and the idiocy of the fact that the government knows how much you owe, and
But they
you
want you
have
to
to,
figure it out.
but they want you to figure it out on your own, and that drives me absolutely bonkers. I'm saying that because we're as the end of the year, I'm starting to look at our finances for the podcast and dealing with my own finances. So it's at the forefront of my mind, and it will be until I eventually file my taxes.
Yeah. So I guess I wonder, like, would it be better system if we just got a bill from the government and like
Yep,
we took it to a tax professional and said,
yep.
"Here's all my stuff. Is this right?" And
Or
then
or
pay it,
or just
or they just cut you a check and like, this is
I
how
w-
we figured it out, and like, because a lot of people wouldn't actually like check into it, so they
right.
probably could scam off the top a little bit,
So
but
ideally, what I would want to have is uh, we're W-2 employees at my job, and I would love it if the government knew how much they needed to take out of every dollar, every dime that I earn. Just take it.
and then at the end there's no refund,
And
there's
there's
no
nothing.
no,
There's no
no bill.
refund.
Yeah,
There's no
yeah,
bill. There's nothing. Just take it. I'd
yeah,
rather you just take it.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah.
But I mean, that's item number 8,973 on things that need to be changed with the government right now. So,
Yeah, right, right.
uh,
Yeah,
not gonna happen in my lifetime. Whatever. All right, your
right.
dinner party question. What do you wish people asked you about more often?
Hmm.
And conversely, what do people ask you about too much as it is?
That's an easy one. The what I'm asked about most is how tall are you?
Yep.
That's an easy one. But what I wished they asked me about more, I don't know. It's probably like
It's probably sports related, right?
craft beer,
Or
breweries, or
yeah,
like
yeah,
or Angels baseball, Packers
yep,
football,
yeah, yeah.
car racing, something like that that I can just spout off without having to do a whole lot of research because I you know
I recently did I signed up for a course. It's actually uh, a veterinary burnout course that
mm,
I'm going to get a certification for that. And one of the questions that they asked was, "What's one thing that people should know about you?" And my answer was, "I hate icebreaker questions. I don't like talking about myself, and I do not like icebreaker questions."
yeah. Oh gosh. Oh, that's great. That's good stuff. Cool. Well, first thing we wanted to do, or I guess the next thing we wanted to do was thank all of our Patreons for their
Yes.
support this year. So first off, why do we have Patreons? What do we do with these dollars? You guys probably wouldn't believe this, but it actually costs money to do this. And it's not just,
And a lot more money than it used to.
yeah, oh my gosh, no kidding. So our fees, we're recording on a platform called Riverside. We pay some monthly fee for that. Then where our episodes are actually like released from and hosted, that's Podbean. We pay a fee for that and the website. And then to actually have the business of Vet Tech Cafe in North Carolina is a whole bunch of licensing fees and blah blah blah,
More
more
government
government,
intervention.
more government money, and like taxes every year, like, so truly, that's the only place that it goes.
Well, and
Usually
the taxes part, like, we did it ourselves for the first couple years, and then we got a bill for, what was it, Jeff? Like
mhm,
$4,000 because we weren't filing
because we
some
didn't we
form,
didn't file some vitamin
and
K form or something.
n- and
Um
now we have an accountant that keeps us out of
Yeah,
IRS
yeah,
jail.
so
So
so that too, so anyway, we just kinda wanted to hop on with that and say, like, as we joke every year, Dave and I have our all staff meetings, right, where we go to Arizona and we watch spring training baseball and we have our business meetings and all that, and, like, our Patreons aren't paying for that. Literally, we
that's
use our
all out of
business
pocket.
credit
Yeah.
card, like, for one meal that we buy ourselves,
Yep.
but otherwise, it's on our own dime to go to Arizona to do all that, like, you're not paying for the baseball games or any of that, like, we do all
We don't
that.
take a salary for this. We're not
Yes,
getting paid for that.
yes,
I know
yes,
there's other podcasts that are much more
yeah,
broader audience than we are, and do this for a living. We are
yeah.
we are not doing this for a living.
And, like, advertisements and stuff, we still put in the ad for BetterHelp, the online therapy platform. We haven't gotten a dime from them in probably 3 or
Yeah.
4 years,
Yeah.
and, we do get a little bit of money now with our Zoetis ad, but it's still not enough to cover the bills. So,
It's enough to almost break even.
yeah. So to all of our Patreons out there, and we're going to call you out. We're going to list you and say thank you so much for your support. So Robin Hahn, Liz Houston, Sandra Baldock, Nikki Castagna, Liza Rudolph, Nicole Dickerson, Meryl Token, Erica Murdoch, Joseph Miranda, Susan Backus, Karen Roach, Dave, you're a Patreon for
I'm a
our
Patreon. Yeah.
podcast, and I'm not. I don't know if you're doing it wrong or I'm doing it wrong, but one of us is.
Yeah.
Becky Gallant, Lynn Blake, Heather Liu, Patty Zana, Jesse Strong, Lauren Galato, Kelly Cronin, um, thank you all so much for your continued support. If you're interested in it or like want to change your plan, like you can check out our Patreon. It's on our website at techcafe.com. You can find it there. There's different levels. Some people do $1 a month, as low as that.
There's some
Um,
free. There's a
there's a
free
free
one
one
too.
too. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So even just every little bit helps us to continue to do this. So wherever you're at, even if you can't, like totally understand. But thank you so much for your support because it does keep us going. We really, really, really appreciate it. So, um, what's next on the agenda here?
You wanted to talk about PTO
Oh,
and
yeah,
using PTO.
yeah. So, and the reason this came up is I saw a post in one of the vet tech groups, something about, and I don't think it was like non-V support staff or anything like that, but it was something about using PTO and just like somebody maybe said they were out of PTO or I don't remember what it was. And I was just thinking like I mean I'm very fortunate at my job. We get a lot of paid time off, both sick time, personal time, and then we have vacation time separate. You can kind of use whatever category you need, but then also we have separate CE days. We have separate bereavement days. And I think that's actually what this post was about was like there was a death or they had to attend a funeral, but they were out of PTO. And so like those days are separate. And in our employee handbook, it's written out like depending on, let's say, just a friend dies and you want to attend a funeral, right? You get a paid day off for that. But if it's a like an immediate family member or something, you
Right.
get, it's more days, whatever, however the breakdown
Usually
is.
two or
And
three, I think. Usually,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And so it's you're never like, like you're not gonna be held. And I think there's also like this like guilt in vet med about taking PTO. And last week, I took 2 days off because not because I was sick, but Daphne was sick, and my mom is immune compromised, so she couldn't watch her the day she had. And then my mother-in-law, who was going to watch Daphne the other day, my father-in-law had neck surgery actually 2 days in a row, like right before, and so she
Wow.
kind of needed to be with him, and so she couldn't watch Daphne the other day. So I took 2 days off, even though I was like completely well, and again I had the paid time off, but truly those days I actually had like immeasurable guilt that like I should be working, even
Yeah.
though, one day I was home because Daphne, we kept home from school sick one day. The next day she went back to school and I just had Olive for the day, but there was just nobody else to watch her. So I was just with Olive because Molly was working. And I still had that guilt of like 30 years in vet med where if you take a day off, you're leaving the team short because we're always like one person short, right? Of like completely screwing the whole team. And in my current job, that's not the case. Like,
Right.
you, like we don't even call out. We submit an online form that we're not going to be there today, and we select what time off we want to use. Like there is no um, stress or guilt of actually calling and talk to somebody and like having to fake cough and all of that. Like there's like it is very safe to take your PTO. And but I still felt like I had that residual guilt of all of those years of like having to show up completely sick and frankly getting everybody else sick and all of that. And so I'm going to make a post, as we get into 2026. Like I'm curious, like how what people's PTO is, and like frankly, are they allowed to take it? Like, do
Yeah.
I remember like my last, not my job at Tufts, but my job like that I had before I moved to New England. You know, California right around that time had passed a law that was like mandatory 3 sick days a year you were allowed to take, and my boss like was very stressed out about that all of a sudden everybody was going to be calling out sick all the time. And if you called out, you could call out sick, but you still had to find your own coverage.
Yeah.
You could get your vacation approved, but you still had to get your own shifts covered. And so like I'm just very curious, like is that still
That
rampant
shouldn't
and
be the
that
case. Like that's
sh-
not
it
like
shouldn't be the case.
we're not
And
HR.
right, and I'm going back like 10 years ago, so I'm hoping
Yeah.
that's not the case for a lot of people, but I'm wondering if that's still out there, or if people can just say like, "No, I'm not coming in today," regardless of what a reason is. As long as you've
Yeah.
got the time, you can just do that. And then do you feel completely guilty for doing so, or like are you guilted or shamed by your team when you go back the next day, like, oh my gosh, yesterday was absolutely terrible without you here, like you completely screwed us. So I'm just, I think that's just something I'm really curious about, because I'm very fortunate now in my job that it's very different, but I still feel like I carry the previous 25 years of vet med work
Yeah.
whenever I use PTO.
Well, I also think like before COVID, right? That was like most of us would work sick and we would just deal with it. And because like you said, everyone was like one or two people away from being completely screwed. And the other part of that is we've been there. We've been the people that go in when somebody's out sick and realize how terrible it is to try and get through all that stuff
Yeah,
while somebody else is home. So it's a double-edged sword of like, yeah,
it is.
I shouldn't be here, but also like the guilt of like letting the team down, which I
Or the patience,
or the
or yeah.
patience, yeah. And I think a lot of that I think a lot of that has to go on management to say, you know what, we should be able to fill these shifts. If not, we're going to have to adjust workflow. We're going to have to adjust what
And I
happens, what's
think
coming in.
along the lines of management too, I'm gonna take it even a step further and say ownership. Like
Yeah.
if you envision, like, let's say a single veterinarian clinic, right? If that veterinarian is really sick, they need to be able to have their staff call their appointments, cancel
Yep.
their surgeries, and take a day or two off and get better. Like, because when you're sick, like that's another absolute time that medical errors can happen, errors in judgment, errors in surgery,
Oh,
or
100,
whatever
yeah,
it is. Like,
100%.
and so like I feel like veterinarians have always kind of had that like no days off mentality, right? And again, I'm going back like a long time. Maybe
Yeah.
nowadays it's not the same way, but and so like I think that has to be like, if any of that kind of ideology is still still there or still permeates in vet med, that has to change. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
take care of yourselves first. Like it all goes back to like you can't pour from an empty cup, all of that stuff. Like if you're sick, like bad things can happen.
Well, and I also think that maybe the younger generation is different than we are. Like
Yes.
we had that mentality, like you go to work no matter what.
Right.
Whereas I think the younger generation has that thing of like, nah,
Yeah.
I need a day.
Yeah,
I
and I'm
need to get
very
better.
curious, like, again, if that applies with, like, veterinarians and management as well, and I certainly hope that it does, and I again, that's like you were kind of alluding to with the government stuff, like, that's a wheel that turns very slowly, like,
Yep.
some people have to kind of, like, age out, phase out, and, like, that mentality hopefully will shift over years and decades, but I hope that that's the case, so there'll be a post coming probably early in the new year. Just I'm, if you're listening, I'm just really curious about your PTO situation. Do you get it? How do you accrue it? Are you allowed to take it? Do you have to find your own coverage? Are you actually like encouraged to take it, allowed to take
Well,
it? Are you shamed or penalized if you do?
and the other thing is, does it roll over? Like if you don't use a
Yeah,
sick day,
can you
do
bank
you
it
lose it?
or is it a use it or lose it? Yeah, like our vacation time at my work continuously accrues. Our sick time and our PTO, we're basically given a bank of it on the anniversary of our hire date, and then we
Sure.
have a year to use that, and then a year from it resets. So, that's more of a use it or lose it, but you can't just cash it out. You have to actually
Right.
like take it. But the vacation, you can like continuously accrue up to like basically 2 or 3 years. I forget what it is, and then you have to start doing something about that. But yeah, so it's just something I was thinking about this week, and I hope that that's changing a little bit in vet
Yeah.
med.
Well, and if you don't know, go in your
Yeah,
employee manual,
yeah, yes,
figure out what you're actually owed.
absolutely,
It's
and
probably on your paycheck too, I would imagine in
yeah,
some
it
places.
very well could be on your pay slip, and or in like Workday, or if you do anything digital now,
Yeah.
your record's going to be there. But like know what it says in your employee handbook about it, and if you go to take it and they say you can't or whatever, or they do something that contradicts what is in your employee handbook, oh boy.
Yeah.
Know what you are entitled to and
Have
know
your
how to
documentation.
use
Yeah.
it. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. So, anyway,
Well,
that was
and also like take the time if we're looking at that, check out bereavement because it's not something that we talked about this on one of our previous episodes about not understanding that bereavement was a thing. I got bereavement when my father passed away and I didn't realize that was even a thing.
yeah.
Um when you get hired, you don't think about that. Like you're
No.
not like taking a job and saying, "Oh, my mom's going to die.
Right.
So let's look
Right.
into this before I take this job." Like you don't think about that until it
Yeah.
actually happens.
Yeah, and it's all part of that, like, again, you don't think about it, but it's truly all part of our compensation package. Like, we
Exactly.
think
Yeah.
about the hourly wage, right? I mean, we don't probably now at our age, or maybe this point in our careers, we look more at what the insurance coverage is,
Yeah.
401k, like, but all of that cumulatively is part of your compensation package. So, like, yeah, the hourly thing, that's what we need to pay bills, like, that's really important, but have an understanding of basically what you get, what
Mhm.
you're entitled to as an employee of wherever you're gonna work, and know what you get, and know when to use it and how to use it, and make sure to use it.
And also if you're looking at changing jobs, have all
Mhm.
that information because
That's all.
that's a negotiating tactic of
Yes,
saying, "Look,
absolutely.
they're going to give me this many hours of PTO. They're going to give me this much CE allowance." One of my jobs that I changed, I negotiated for a higher CE allowance because I they were hiring me to train their staff and I was only getting like 500 a year in CE money. I'm like, that's not even going to pay for me to get to IVEX, let
Right,
alone
right,
register, stay at a
right,
hotel, and bring back information to teach your employees. Like
right.
use these
Yeah.
things for negotiating tactics too.
For sure, and if you're, like, considering multiple jobs, like, don't just look at the hourly wage. What if one
Yeah.
place is gonna pay you a higher wage, but they pay less of your insurance coverage, so you're losing more per check because you're
Yep.
paying more of your own insurance coverage, whereas maybe job B, you get a little less dollars per hour, but you're losing less each check because they pay more of your
Right.
insurance.
Right.
And if you start at a lower wage, maybe that means you have a higher earning capacity as opposed to starting really
Yeah.
high. Like, how much higher can you go? So,
Right.
compare all of that stuff because all of that, at some point, maybe not now in your career, but maybe some point in the time you're going to be there, all of that other stuff outside of the hourly wage starts to matter. So,
Yeah. Well, and as we're starting to want people to think of this as a career as opposed to
hmm
just a job, look at the 401k. Like, what
hmm
is the match? What are you
yeah,
going to look at long term? And just use all the information you
yeah,
have, and not just
yeah,
not just don't make the decision just based on your hourly wage,
right.
because there's so
Absolutely.
much more involved now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So,
Enough of that fun stuff.
yes, yes. So 2026, Dave, we'd always do this in our kind of end of the year tap room. You and I don't do New Year's resolutions, but we usually always have like a goal we want to do. Curious if you had a goal this year or what maybe your goal in 2026 is going to be.
Well, I always have the goal of running 1,000 miles, and it never happens. Because I usually start out in the spring, and I'm usually like by March or April, I'm usually like 20, 30 miles ahead of pace because I'm really gung ho about it. And then the North Carolina summers hit,
And then it gets hot.
and it gets hot, and then by August I'm down like 100 miles, and so that's always the goal of mine. I never achieve it, but it's still always going to be a goal. Like at some point, I want to actually do that. And my other one is I'm going to try and stop my procrastination cycle. Writing lectures at the last minute. I, I tend to always do that. I know it's kind of a joke that we do that quite often. A lot of people that we see at IVEX and at different conferences, we're usually writing lectures a day that they're actually going to be given. I've decided that this year I'm not going to do that. I'm going to have things done ahead of time. TBD if it actually works. So that's one of my goals, is to stop that procrastination cycle that I always tend to get myself into.
Gotcha.
What do you
Gotcha.
got?
I think mine, so this year a big one was unsubscribing from email lists,
Hmm.
and that has helped tremendously. I can't believe how much less junk email I get, and still like I can tell when I've gotten on some new list because I start like getting another wave of stuff and then
Yep.
just, unsubscribe. But that's been really helpful. I think for 2026, big thing is I want to move around a bit more, especially like working from home and sitting at a desk for work and just not moving around a treatment room. And now getting another year closer to 50, definitely feeling it more. But, I have an infant daughter who's just over 6 months now. So, like, just putting her in a stroller and walking her around the neighborhood, because my little neighborhood, without even going to like a big street, if I just do all the little cul-de-sacs and stuff, it's like a 2 mile walk.
Oh, nice.
So just to like move around a little bit more, I'm not talking about like couch to 5K or running a half marathon or anything
Was gonna
like
say,
that,
do you want to run a
or
5K in
not
Phoenix when we
even
go?
not even, losing weight or anything like that, but just more mobility and more flexibility, getting out more, getting some more fresh air for both like physical and just mental health too. I think that's a big one. Just moving around more. Like again, no specific goal of losing X amount of pounds or, just a little bit better shape, a little bit more mobility and flexibility.
Well, and just getting out of the house and like walking around and like not having your phone
hmm
to scroll through and all that stuff. Just enjoy the scenery. Like I go for walks with the dogs. We've got a park that's near us that has, I mean, if I really wanted to, I could do a 10 mile loop. But usually we
Yeah.
do like either 2 or 3 miles on a loop, and it's good to just get out there. Like, obviously
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that today because it's in the 20s, but
Right.
um, we
Speak.
we
Oh, go ahead.
we generally try to go out at least 4 or 5 times a week if the weather's good, to because it's good for the dogs, and they love it, even though it's the exact same course we do like every day. But they could care less that it's the same course.
Yeah.
They just love to be out and love to go for walks. So I like to give that to them, because thinking about like the dogs, like the walk sometimes feels like a chore for me, but for them, that's the best part of their day.
Gotcha. Speaking of like getting off your phone a little bit, you'll never guess what I did, but last week I deleted Candy Crush.
What?
Yeah. I started playing Candy Crush when we were studying for our BTS exam in
Yeah.
2012. Like
Yeah.
that, so 13 years I have been playing Candy Crush every day,
Wow.
every day. And it just got to the point like you pretty much have to, like, pay to play on because the levers are so
The level's
impossible
so
to
high,
beat,
yeah,
a
yeah.
and so it's just like it was stupid, and I was like, "I just gotta be done with this." So, I actually deleted Candy Crush last week, and, like, for the first day or 2, I kinda noticed, and now I don't really ever even think about it anymore. So
You know what you can do, and something that I've done, you can get, one of the language apps. I got
mm,
Duolingo, and I think I have like a 33, 34 day streak right now
amazing,
of just
amazing.
like I have my coffee, I go through and I speak Spanish at the at the kitchen island, and Robin's like, "What's that mean?" And she's partially learning some of it because I'm
Yeah,
saying everything out loud. So it's just a fun thing to do that
that's a great idea.
is actually beneficial more so than just playing
I
games on the
actually
phone.
I would love to pick up my German again.
Yeah.
I was pretty conversational in college, and of course, I don't use it. So, I mean, I know it's all still in there, but that's actually a really
I
great
I
idea.
I took German in college. Duolingo is free. There's other ones that you can pay for. There's things on Duolingo you can pay for, but like I'm not
Sure.
going to do that.
Yeah.
I just go through the lessons, and I know how to I know how to buy a cheap dress. That's what I'm working on right now, buying cheap dresses
Great.
and learning where the bathroom is.
I love it. I love that's awesome. That's actually a really great idea. I'm gonna look into
Yeah,
that today.
go for it. Yeah,
So I think the last thing we want to talk about was kind of our favorite episodes of
yeah,
2025, and we've got a list here. We had some really really great episodes
we
this
did.
year, and
Yeah.
and we've already got kind of a list coming for 2026 that I'm excited about. I think for me, a couple that stood out, and our main thing, right, is we always like to talk about vet techs that are kind of like doing businesses and starting like blazing their own path.
Yeah.
So talking to Becky Lacey about animal ants in Virginia was super cool, starting up a veterinary ambulance company. We talked to a few international guests this
Yep.
year, in the UK. And so, like, those are always great just to talk about what veterinary medicine looks like in other countries. I think for me, my favorite episode, if you will, and I think it's one because it's a topic we had wanted to talk about basically since we started, and we just didn't know anybody in the space to talk
Right.
to, and we kind of lucked into getting a contact through Beth Stark with Hive, was Carla Hubbs and talking about shelter medicine,
Yeah. Yeah.
because I think that is a generally very overlooked and misunderstood part and career in vet med as a veterinary technician. So it was really fascinating to kind of look at what a shelter med vet tech does. And I thought that was a really great discussion. And again, that was just one we had been, I mean, it's been on our list for years.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we've talked with several people about it, like, "Hey, do you know anybody in this space?" And just never really could get anything together. So to actually finally put that out there and, like, not just check that box, but also, like, it's a really, really important part of vet med, and I think, you kinda can branch off from there into, like, affordability or low cost care, which actually we're kind of talking to somebody about for an episode for 2026. That there's a lot of kind of things that I think are adjacent to that space too that we could look at. So it won't be like a one-off conversation. It'll just kind of be another thing we can look
Well,
at.
and I think the other part of that is like when I my very early in my career, like young baby, not even a technician at the time. Like I worked in a shelter. We didn't have veterinary technicians. Like we weren't even veterinary assistants, and we were doing some of the stuff
Yeah,
that technicians are doing. Like that's where I learned how to draw blood.
yeah,
Was working at a shelter, and um, I feel like it's a underserved part of the profession that I feel like more people need to be involved in that. And I realize a lot of times it's because they're low cost, they're partially nonprofit. Carla, I believe, worked at like
municipal
a
shelter.
municipal shelter,
Yeah,
so that's a little bit different. But for the most part, the shelters are not run on a huge budget. They're
right.
run on a very low budget. So, you know, we already talk about technicians not getting paid enough,
Hmm.
and then to go into a shelter and make even less than what you would be making at a general practice or an ER clinic is very hard. You have to have that true dedication to that part of the profession, and I applaud her for doing what she's doing because she's making some great impacts on those animals that she's dealing with, and and the people that her community serves. So it's great to see that there are people that are technicians that are working in that part of the field.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. How about you?
For me, it kind of, I don't want to say it's selfish, but with Chelsea Van Etten, she's someone
Mm,
that I work with. She kind of put me in check a little bit when we were talking about the beta fish, and I said, "Who's going to spend that kind of money to
mhm.
take care of a $2, $5 goldfish?" And she flat out said, "Dave, sometimes those animals are the best part of somebody's day, and they
Yeah,
are valuable pieces of the family. Just because I don't have the same value on it that family does, doesn't mean that
yeah.
they're any less valuable." So that kind of put me in check, and I still think about that because I mean I have fish, and sometimes I think like, well, if they don't make it, they don't make it. Not that huge of a deal. But for when we had a little goldfish when Robin's daughter was younger, like that goldfish was life and blood. Like that was a family member. And not that they're not family members for me, but I sometimes don't realize the importance of people's pets
Yeah.
when they don't kind of fit into the same category that I put into in my pets into. So that was a good one. And just to hear about like doing anesthesia on a
Mhm.
beta fish, that was like, really? We're gonna be doing
Yeah.
like, I wouldn't even know the first steps to take to do anesthesia on a fish.
No.
And kind of going back to like our very early on, when we talked to Mark about what he did in zoo medicine, like that still fascinates me. All the stuff
Mhm.
that he can do, and just doing stuff that we are not really, like, we know it exists, but we are not in that realm,
Right.
and that stuff fascinates me, and
There are
I
some
love
real
yeah,
badasses out
I
there.
love to hear about that stuff of like stuff that we wouldn't even know the first steps to take to accomplish that task,
Yeah.
and they do it routinely. Like
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
stuff just fascinates me.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So we hope you guys enjoyed most, if not all, of our episodes in 2025.
Yeah,
We've got some great ones we're looking at for 2026. Just a couple of topics we're going to be already working on: veterinary AI, kind of low cost, high volume spay neuter, which I kind of alluded to already. Veterinary mediation. We've got some previous guests, some new guests, kind of already lined up through the spring that we're kind of putting together. So we're still going strong. People still want
yeah.
to talk to us every other week. So the Vet Tech Cafe is still going to be here all through 2026 and what
They
have
either
you.
they want to, or that they're
or they
willing to.
or they're willing to. Yeah, yeah. And people still write in wanting to
Yeah,
be on an episode to talk about whatever it is they're doing, which, those are always super cool. So and I think the other thing we just wanted to touch on before we sign off here, so we just had Hive, which we've talked about, in Anaheim last month. And then we've got the next Hive, which is Hive Midwest, I think. And it's actually going to be in Covington, Kentucky, which is right across the river from Cincinnati, Ohio. Dave and I will both be there. So if you are going to be at Hive in Kentucky, which is March 21, 22, so only 3 months away, which is wild.
whew.
Um, we'll both be there. We say this every time, and we're kind of working through some stuff, as Hive champions and what have you. But I think we are going to try to logistically make it so we can record a live episode while we're there. Just logistically, there's some stuff we need to figure out, but otherwise we'll do a tap room kind of recap again. But their goal is 4 events next year, so they'll have that one in March. It's going to be one in San Antonio in late May, and then the next two after that are, like, they kind of have a general idea. We're thinking maybe August, North Carolina, but nothing nailed down yet as far as location or date. And then the fall again, kind of late in the year, not as close to Thanksgiving as it's been. I think maybe October, later October or early November, somewhere on the West Coast. Don't know if it's going to be Anaheim again or maybe somewhere else out here. But obviously, as those things develop, we will kind of put that out there because we are Hive champions and we want to promote it. It's a great
And we have a discount
conference.
code.
We have a discount code. It's a very unique program. Lots of opportunity for both clinical, but also professional development, leadership, all of that kind of stuff. Mentorship. A lot of really cool talks. A lot of really unique talks that you're not going to see at a lot of other conferences. So
And
definitely
also
check it
like
out.
like panel discussions a lot
Yeah, panel
too, where
discussions
it's
and
not just like somebody lecturing, it's more
right.
like communication back and
Yeah.
forth with the audience.
Yeah, yeah, there's a lot. I mean, there is still, like, the traditional, somebody at a podium and doing a PowerPoint, but there's a lot less of that and a lot more interaction, and
Yeah,
kind
a
of,
lot
discussion, shared experiences, those kinds of things. So a lot higher chance for, like, building community in vet med, a lot less attendees. It's always just techs and assistants. So if there's one in your area and you have some CE money, especially if you don't get much CE money, their goal is always to keep registration under $100. It's usually a very accessible and inexpensive comparatively conference with a really good program. So definitely check it out if there's one in your area. Especially like if you've never been to a conference before, I think it's a great first
Yeah.
conference because it really opens your eyes to a lot of things out
Yep.
there. So
Yeah, and I've really enjoyed going to those.
yeah,
Just the community and talking to people like, where are you from? What do you do? Like
yeah,
stepping into an extrovert costume for a couple days, which is not easy for us to do, but
right,
we managed to get by.
yeah,
And the people that put it on are really um really invested and really invested
yes,
in like feedback and making it as best as it possibly can be. They're really invested in, and like it's not like the hive that we went to in Anaheim was different than the hive we went to this year at Anaheim.
mhm,
So I think it's an ever evolving thing until they finally figure out what works best. And I
yeah,
think that's great where it's not so set in stone. Like, nope, this is how we're doing it.
yeah,
If you have a suggestion for how it can change, like they take our advice about this is what we could do differently. This is who we could bring in for speakers. This is
yeah,
the content that we could probably move towards, or this is how we could kind of interact better with the people at the conference. So I feel like they're doing a great job of really fine tuning and making it as best as they possibly can make
yeah,
it. So
agreed.
we're happy to join on with them
Yeah,
and help them out.
agreed. Well, I think that is gonna put a bow on 2026,
Yeah, we have one more
and
episode we're recording tomorrow that will
yeah,
be
that'll be our next episode.
next episode, but this one will upload on the 21st. Obviously, if you're watching it now,
Yeah,
it's live.
it's live, but
Um, but yeah, one more episode this year, and then we'll start on
the and that
2026.
and that will upload on the 28th,
Yep.
and then we'll keep right on rolling into 2026. So everybody out there, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year. If you're
Happy Festivus.
working, Happy Festivus. If you're working, gosh, I hope the clients are nice, the puke cleans up easy, and the days are short, and you can get back with your families as soon as possible. So, all the best in the holiday season, and we'll see you guys in 2026.
Bye, everybody.